The survey ship Odyssey drifted through the glittering emptiness between stars, a single speck of human presence among the endless dark. Commander Ethan Vale was used to silence. The kind that sank into your skin, heavy and cold. For 3 years, he had been alone on this deep space mission, a mapping project meant to identify uncharted wormholes and habitable systems for future colonization. His only companion was the ship's AI, a soft-voiced system named Lyra. She wasn't sentient, or at least she wasn't supposed to be. But after years of isolation, Ethan had grown used to her tone, her small hesitations that sometimes felt almost human. That was until the day he found her. The alien signal came from a planet that didn't even have a name, a tiny blue and white orb orbiting a dying red sun. The signal wasn't random static or coded data. It was a voice. A female. Singing. Lyra, triangulate the source, Ethan commanded, heart thudding. That's no echo. Lyra's voice replied through the speakers, calm as ever. Source located in the northern hemisphere. Estimated 22 kilometers from current coordinates. Do you wish to descend? Ethan grinned despite the loneliness pressing on him. Prepare for landing. When the Odyssey descended through the atmosphere, the storm clouds split like veils, revealing a frozen world that shimmered under a pale light. Ruins dotted the landscape, spires of ancient stone half buried in snow. And at the center of it all stood a tall crystalline structure that pulsed faintly with energy. Inside that crystal tower he found her. Middle, the woman in the light. She was suspended within a cocoon of light, encased in some kind of transparent stasis field. Her skin shimmered faintly silver. Her hair floated around her face like strands of liquid glass. She wasn't human, but her features were close enough to make his breath hitch. He brushed his gloved hand against the barrier. Who are you? The field responded, flickering as if reacting to his presence. A tremor shook the tower, and suddenly the cocoon pulsed, brighter and brighter, until it shattered. Ethan stumbled back, shielding his eyes. When the light faded, she was lying on the floor, breathing alive. She opened her eyes. They were an impossible shade of blue, deeper than oceans. Stay still, Ethan said quickly, scanning her with his handheld medkit. You're safe. You've been asleep a long time. Her gaze darted across his face, her breathing unsteady. Then in a voice like soft wind she whispered, You are real. He frowned. You understand me. I understand thought, she murmured, touching her head. The language of mind. Ethan's pulse quickened. Telepathy. He'd read about it in xenobiology archives, but it was thought to be a myth. When he offered her water, she hesitated, watching him carefully before sipping. She seemed fascinated by him, by the way he moved, the warmth of his skin, even the sound of his voice. It was as if she hadn't seen a human before, or any living being, in centuries. What's your name? He asked. Her lips parted. I was once called Elindra, Queen of the Last Dawn. Queen. Ethan raised a brow. Her gaze drifted toward the frozen horizon outside. My people built this world to be eternal. We defied death, and lost to it anyway. He didn't fully understand her words, but the sorrow behind them was unmistakable. Connection beyond words. Over the next several days, Ethan helped Elindra regain her strength. He taught her about his ship, about humans, about what little remained of Earth's past. The wars, the expansion into space, the longing to find something greater than themselves. She listened in silence, her eyes filled with quiet wonder. Sometimes, he caught her staring at him as if she were studying a long-forgotten memory. And sometimes when he thought something, Like how impossibly graceful she looked when the starlight caught her skin. She would react before he said a word. One night, while repairing a damaged console, Ethan glanced up and found Elindra standing near the viewport, gazing at the stars. The light framed her like a painting. "She's beautiful," he thought absently, almost wistfully. Then she turned. Her voice trembled as she said, "You called me beautiful." Ethan froze, his wrench clattering to the floor. "Wait, did I? I didn't say that out loud." "No," she whispered. "You thought it." Her expression was unreadable, part confusion, part something softer. "It has been long since I heard a thought so pure." He flushed. "Sorry. I didn't mean to." She stepped closer, her eyes glimmering. "Do not apologize, human. Among my kind, beauty was spoken through thought. But yours was different. You felt it." Ethan swallowed hard. "I guess humans tend to wear their hearts too close to their minds." She tilted her head. "Then yours must be very near." There was something magnetic in the way she looked at him, not in a predatory or alien way, but in a deeply human one. It made the silence between them hum with unspoken emotion. Middle continued the memory of stars. As days turned into weeks, Ethan and Elindra explored the ruins together. She told him stories of her people, the Ilari, beings of light who had once thrived across galaxies, feeding on starlight itself. But when their stars began to die, they created crystal cities to preserve their essence. Elindra had been the last of them, guarding the memory of her kind. "Why didn't you leave?" Ethan asked one evening as they watched the dying sun from the cliff. "I couldn't," she said softly. "To abandon the last light of my people would be to abandon who I am." He nodded, understanding in a way she didn't expect. Humans used to cling to their past too. Sometimes, it's the only thing keeping us sane. She turned toward him. "And yet, you still move forward. That is why I envy you." He smiled faintly. "Envy? From an immortal queen?" She met his gaze. "Even eternity feels empty when there's no heartbeat beside you." That night he couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her standing beneath the stars, the faint sadness in her smile. Something inside him shifted. Not attraction alone, but empathy, connection. He had come to chart unknown systems. Instead, he had found someone who made the universe feel less lonely. The threat. A week later, everything changed. While Ethan transmitted data back to the human network, an automated signal bounced off the planet's surface, activating something buried deep underground. The ground trembled violently. From the snow emerged a swarm of machines, ancient defense drones, their programming corrupted over millennia. "Elindra, run!" Ethan shouted, grabbing his plasma rifle. She stared in shock. The Guardians, they were meant to protect the Ilari. "Well, they didn't get the memo," he yelled, firing at the nearest drone. Bolts of plasma tore through the snow as metallic forms swarmed toward them. Elindra raised her hand, and light flared around her. The air vibrated with power as her eyes glowed like twin stars. "Go. I will hold them." "Not a chance." Ethan fired again, covering her. "You said you envied humanity. Then learn something about us. We don't abandon our friends." For a moment she stared at him, really saw him, and then nodded. Together, they unleashed a storm of fire and light. The drones fell, one by one, until silence returned. Ethan collapsed to his knees, chest heaving. "Please tell me that was the last of them." Elindra smiled weakly. "For now." Then she stumbled, and Ethan caught her. Her energy flickered like a dying flame. "The crystal that sustained me is broken," she whispered. "I don't have much time." No, he said, shaking his head. We can fix this. I'll find a way. Her hand touched his cheek, faintly glowing. Do not grieve, human. Your thoughts have already given me more life than I ever had before. He swallowed the lump in his throat. I'm not leaving you here. You cannot stop the end, she said softly. But you can remember it. Her eyes fluttered shut, but before the light faded completely, she reached into his mind, and he felt her voice echo within. Thank you for calling me beautiful. Ending, the light that remained. Ethan buried the crystalline fragments of Elindra's body beneath the frozen sky, where the first rays of dawn touched the ice. He stayed until the storm passed, watching the horizon glow faintly gold. When he returned to the Odyssey, Lyra's voice greeted him. Commander Vale, I detect a faint energy pattern within your neural signature. Are you all right? He paused, staring at the stars. For a moment, he swore he heard her voice, Elindra's, whispering faintly in his thoughts. Not all ends are endings, Ethan. Some are beginnings disguised as goodbye. He smiled faintly. I think I'm not alone anymore. As the Odyssey lifted off, a flicker of light shimmered in the ice below, the faint outline of a woman watching him go. Her heart finally thawed by a single human thought.